Hey, my name's Mark Fletcher. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have been at Shoptalk at the end of March this year to meet with about 8,000 other retailers from the US, Europe, from Australia, and technology players in the retail space, just to talk about retail and listen to a whole bunch of interesting speakers. But before I get into that and share some of the insights just really quickly, I just want to show you some photos just to kind of set the scene, if you like, for the Shoptalk experience. So Shoptalk is in Las Vegas. Was at the Mandalay Bay, massive trade show, lots of different attendees, some fun things to do, muck around and just sort of play on some of the stands. Like I said, 8,000 people. This is a small smattering of people as we come out of one of the lecture halls and head to another. And there were 5 or 6 of these going on at any one time. So it just gives you an idea of the number of people who were there at this event. The trade show itself was next level. Stands like this that were made to look like packaging, stands like this that were, this was a vehicle you could ride down Las Vegas Boulevard in if you won the prize. People wearing crazy costumes, which is typical for a US trade show. A lot of talk about sustainability around online retail particularly, and I'll get into that in a moment. Afterpay, of course, were there. Aussie company really pushing very hard their buy now, play later option. Different approaches to product returns. This seems a bit old school to me. It's an old ATM kind of repurposed into product returns. And the trade show itself just went on and on and on. But really, it was the presentations that we were there for. And as I said, there were 5 or 6 presentations going on at any one time, and really had to pick carefully to be able to get in to see who was saying what and where they were at. So let me get into just very briefly, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but some of the takeaways. And I mean, I've taken tons of pages of notes, but these are just kind of the highlights for me that I think really connected in the work that I do with small business retailers through my Tower Systems business and through my News Express business, very much about local retailers, what my interest is. And the key takeaways that I saw or listened to at Shoptalk were around these areas around Gen Z being the big future, if you like, for the next little while of retail. These are people aged between 10 and 25 years old. And they say that they're going to be really driving retail revenue for the next, 5 or 10 years or so. And because of the Gen Z focus, sustainability and environmental concern is a real factor, both in-store and online. Online, it's all about how sustainable your packaging is, how sustainable your processes are, your returns processes and things like that. In-store, shoppers want to know about where products are made, how far away from your business they're sourced, how they're packaged, and what the sustainability story is. It's interesting, and the reason I mention that is, I've been to tons of Shoptalk conferences in the US and in Europe, and I have never heard sustainability talked about from a business strategy perspective as much as I heard in Las Vegas last week. It's really quite significant, and that's why I raise it now, saying having a sustainability strategy and being able to speak to that online and in store, I think is very important, particularly in terms of connecting with that Gen Z customer. The other topic that came up a lot in a lot of presentations was inflation. There were a couple of economists speaking who were talking about, inflation is going to hit us, and it's going to hit us pretty hard globally. We're hearing about it here in Australia too. And so we're seeing it in the numbers. And so there was discussion around inflation and how it's going to hit us in retail, how that's going to affect consumer spending, but it's also going to have an impact on how we spend within our own businesses. So I think the takeaway for me was make sure you have a strategy for dealing with inflation. And that means being aware of price-conscious consumers, being aware yourselves of your own business costs and doing whatever you can to mitigate against those getting out of control. There was also really good discussion about the future of work. That's a common theme, as you'd expect in this COVID situation. There was not a single speaker that I heard who said people will go back to the offices en masse the way they were before. The consensus was that it'll be a hybrid situation. There'll be some people who do go back to offices and some people who don't. And that we as local retailers need to leverage that opportunity, particularly if you're in a regional or rural situation, that you've got an opportunity both to win that shopper who's now living and working locally who wasn't before, but also to make life easier for them to do that. If your business is a type of business that can provide support services for them, then that's an opportunity. And so the future of work was talked about in the context of this is the new normal. Let's not talk about that snapback. Let's talk about this being the new normal and lean into it in terms of the opportunities. There was a lot of discussion about this thing called quick commerce. Now, quick commerce is one of those things. It's a buzzword, marketing term that businesses like. But quick commerce is about the situation where somebody orders something online and they expect it delivered within minutes. And that's what I mean, minutes. You've got DoorDash, you've got Uber, and you've got Deliveroo all playing aggressively in this space, spending a lot of money on infrastructure in this space, spending money educating consumers about quick commerce and the fact that they can satisfy you in 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. Now, you'd understand that this is a big deal in the US, say New York, with dense population, some of the European cities with high population density, but it's also here in Australia. I live in Richmond and I'm already seeing it. Milk Run, I've got an outlet opened in Richmond serving my local area, saying they'll have groceries delivered to my home within 15 minutes. That's what quick commerce is. And Milk Run has raised $85 million in venture capital for their business operation. The reason I mention quick commerce is the fact that you've got Uber in that space today saying within the next 3 or 4 years, that's going to be a $10 billion a year business for them globally. DoorDash saying the same thing. You've got Deliveroo doing deals with a bunch of retailers in the UK to do the same thing. Says this is serious. This is really serious. It's not just about food. It's about everyday items that they will deliver to your home in 10, 15 or 20 minutes. Now, if I put my shopper hat on for a moment, I listen to that and I say, really? Am I going to pay $6 to have someone deliver a small container of cream because I need that for a dessert I'm making for tonight? Am I going to do that? And I'm not. That's not me. But they're not targeting me. They're targeting other shoppers who want, one, the instant gratification. Secondly, they want to know that it doesn't matter what they're getting, they can have it delivered whenever it is they need it, rather than stocking a pantry full of items they may want. The head of Uber, the head of DoorDash were speaking at Shoptalk, and they've never spoken at Shoptalk before. So here is a retail conference designed for retailers and for technology companies to come together and talk about what's happening in tech. And you've got these two delivery businesses, delivery infrastructure businesses, stealing the limelight and really capturing a lot of attention on what it is that they're doing within their particular operation. And people were enthralled. You know, Uber and DoorDash particularly are saying they're going to partner with local retailers. DoorDash added something like 130,000 retailers just last year alone in the US, which is significant, really significant. And they're pitching to get local retailers. So I guess my takeaway about quick commerce is don't dismiss it, even if you don't want to use it yourself or don't see yourself using it. It's very serious. You've got major competitors spending a lot of money in that space for the shopper who wants the product now, wants to get it very, very quickly. There are a couple of really good podcasts that talk about this, and email me if you'd like the details of those, but they're really, really well worth listening to. One in particular that talks about how this quick commerce model even works in regional and rural situations, which very much is the Australian story. So I think that's an interesting thing for us to watch. Another thing that a lot of people talked about was the use of videos in selling. Using videos on websites, using videos in store. They're saying that here we are in 2022 and the video has come to its own. And particularly shoppers who are wanting to browse without interacting with people, if they can browse online, and we know that more than half of the use of websites is for people who are browsing and doing product research online. If they can see a photo, that's one thing, but if they can see that product spin around, so they see all sides of it, or possibly see someone pick it up so they get the context of the size of it in terms of the human hand, that can make a big difference to shopping experiences. Now, I'm going to just digress here for a moment and speak about my software company, Tower Systems, because last year we launched, we had a YouTube channel, but somebody else set that up and we couldn't get control of it, so we ditched that. Last year we set up a new YouTube channel. We've got now probably, I guess, 40 videos there. that YouTube channel is a net generator of sales leads for us. And it's key in the sales growth that we're achieving, because people can engage with the videos as and when they want to. They can go back and watch and rewatch, pause. And so from the point of view of selling point of sale software, here we are in April 2022 saying, why didn't we get these videos done sooner and better? They're proving to be very successful for us. And so in terms of what we do, videos work. We use videos on some of my own e-commerce websites, and those products with videos work really, really well. So I get what they're saying. And certainly there are a number of speakers at Shoptalk saying, if you've got a website and you're not using videos, then you're missing out on the opportunity. If you're using social media and you're not using videos, you're missing out on the opportunity. So it was pretty cool to hear that. The final point in kind of this sort of list of points that I have here from Shoptalk is, and it's something I talked about recently from the conference I was at in Dubai, and that is that big business is coming for you. So at Shoptalk, you have major retailers like Coles and Nordstrom, Walmart, and then you've got tech companies like Google and Facebook, all these mega billion-dollar businesses. And here they are at this trade show full of retailers, and these big businesses are talking about tech. That's technology, using smart technology, artificial intelligence, and everything in the whole tech toolkit, if you like, to provide a local personalized experience. And some of them would even say so that the shopper feels as if you're just around the corner. So using technology to provide that local connection so that when a shopper is interacting with the technology, they feel that the person on the other side is just around the corner. And they're getting better at that. That's the thing. In local business for us, and I say this as a retailer, I've got 4 shops as well. As a local retailer, we see a point of difference as being our personal service. Our people, we're in the shop, we're in front of them, we're engaging with customers, and we are local to them. That's very true. But tech's coming for us. They're coming for us aggressively, which means we've got to get better at what we do within our own stores. And I think that's where we've got to get better at using technology ourselves. We've got to get better at understanding what's working and what's not working in our businesses. We've also got to get better at change and embracing change. One of the kind of unspoken, if you like, takeaways from Shoptalk, because nobody actually said it, but I saw it on the trade show floor and in different conference presentations. You get the sense of it, and that is that change is critical. Absolutely embracing change, driving change, and making changes in our own businesses is critical. Shoppers expect us to evolve. Gone are the days of them looking at our business, whatever it is, whether it's a pet shop or a jeweler or a garden centre or a news agency or a toy shop or whatever, and expecting that to live within that world. Today, they expect us to evolve our businesses and to evolve as different needs and opportunities arise locally. And I think that's key. In fact, there was one speaker who said, those days of the borders of the particular retail channels, they're gone. Those borders don't exist anymore. And I very much agree with that. It was exciting and fascinating to see how engaged retailers were. They were there. They were hungry to learn, hungry to engage, hungry to learn how they could use technology to win customers from this competitor or this competitor or this competitor. And in our kind of small business world, we've got to do that too. Our biggest challenge, I think, is that we don't see our competitors. We don't see the products that are being shipped to our customers when they order it from somebody else online and it's delivered to their house. We don't get a sense of who's really competing with us the way they are competing with us. So we've got to be more aware ourselves. From my perspective, I went to Shoptalk to kind of take the temperature of where that whole industry is at. And I'm pretty excited by it. There's really a lot of excellent takeaways from my tower systems company, which I'm obviously not going into too much detail here on for competitive reasons. I also got some excellent insights that I'm going to use within my News Express business for that evolving retail business where we're moving more into gifts and homewares and things like that. I think these are wonderful opportunities for us to build stronger and better businesses. My goal in this video is to say, first of all, change absolutely is coming. It's, change is driving its way through retail. How you sell, when you sell, where you sell is changing fundamentally. Your competitors are changing too. You may not have thought that Uber Eats driver who's delivering food to your neighbours at home is also going to be a competitor for your retail business, because they are. That's what Uber sees. The other thing is, regardless of what your politics may or may not be, being concerned about the environment and dealing with business in a way that's more sustainable is going to be critical if you want to win that Gen Z customer. And then I guess the final key thing that I'd mention is, if you have an opportunity, and I know that's just stupid to say, do you have the time? Because in small business retail, you don't have the time. But if you could find the time, just to stop for a second, just to stop within your business and cast an eye around the business and say, what can I do to make this business better connected with the future of work? Better connected with and for the people who are themselves changing how they work, when they work, where they work. How can I modify the business to better serve my local community and connect with my local community? Because it's that local connection that really is going to be a brighter future for you. And Shoptalk very much, I think, reinforced that to me. It reinforced that for those of us with brick and mortar retail businesses, that personal connection is critical. Now, if I put my marketing hat on for a second and say within the Tower software, there are ways you can drive that personal connection, without a doubt, really easy ways. And our help desk team would love to help you do that. Across at my News Express business, there are also ways that it, as a marketing group, helps its member stores, its 200 or so member stores, drive that personal connection with customers. The critical thing is to want to do that. I think the days of us doing the same thing day in and day out in our shops, those days are gone, because our competitors are rapidly changing. So we've got to rapidly change ourselves. But we've got to do that in a way that's sustainable, and we've got to do it in a way that it's sustainable not only environmentally, but sustainable financially. And I think that's critical. I took over a shop in December last year, December 2021, and been in the same family for 38 years. And we're making significant changes to the shop, but we're not spending a cent with a shop fitter, because I don't believe that shop fitters are good value typically for the kind of local retail business that I want to run. And so we're quite frugal in how we invest in our retail businesses. And I think that is also a takeaway here, because if you look at the future of work, how people are pivoting from working in an office to working from home on the kitchen table or whatever, I think we've got this situation that we can engage with ourselves, where our shops are as practical as what those people might happen to do in their home situation. I think I'm starting to ramble, so I'm not going to go on really much longer, other than to say that I really appreciate the opportunity to get to Shoptalk. I hope the information is of interest to you. I'm going to do another video with my colleague who was there with me. We're going to look at retail that we went and visited. This will be the third video that comes out of the Shoptalk trip. We're going to do that and share that with people too. So if Tower Systems can help you in any way, let us know. If you're a customer of ours, thank you. And let us know if we can help you learn more about the software so you can get more from it. If you're not a customer of ours and you'd like to see what we do, on our YouTube channel, you've got tons of demonstrations. I've also got a sales team who can demonstrate the software to you. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you found it useful.